Good morning, my dear friend from Australia, Mark David Walsh. Welcome once again to Paso del Camino, a project about the Camino Santiago to the Camino Santiago. And it's really, really lovely that you accept to do this. Again, thank you so much. And I really, really hope that we can share our passion about the Camino and we can uh how can I say this? We can like transmit our emotions to the people that we will watch this conversation. Really, really, thank you so much. I'm really thankful to you.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, Mark, let's start from the beginning. Um, how did you find about Camino?
Um, I found out about the Camino watching a television program on the History Channel about a Galician musician whose name I forget right now, who Joel
Carlos,
Lopez.
Carlos Núñez?
Oh, no, Joel Lopez.
Okay, okay.
He's a pop star, but he was doing a documentary walking the Camino, and I just fell in love with this idea, and I thought one day I'm going to do that. And it took me about 6 years before that happened.
So that was your first time finding about the Camino. So
Yeah,
what drove you 6 years after? What drove you to walk this beautiful ancient pilgrimage that is the Camino Santiago?
I think the first thing, thinking back about what attracted me through that television show, was I thought this is a great way to travel. You know, what a way to move slowly through a place rather than, on a bus or a train or I mean, from Australia, we have to fly to so many places. What a beautiful way just to travel slowly, to experience what's there. Um, I bought a lovely book by Joyce Rupp after that, and she's a Catholic nun who walked the Camino. And just the more that I read, the more that I investigated this, the more that it felt right for me. Yeah.
That's amazing. So since the first time that you get to know about the Camino, through that time of 6 years, when you realize that you wanted to do this and you will do this, did you get any impressions about it, or it was something that you saw at this time and just thinking of that like 6 years later, or there were some moments in between?
Oh, there were definitely moments in between. I think I started a little bit of an obsession about the Camino. I mean, you can watch so much of the Camino on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that, when you get to those places like Alto de Perdón with the statue and they seem so familiar because you've seen them so many times on Facebook and on YouTube. And so in about 2000 and whatever, I think maybe it was 2009, I thought I really want to walk the Camino. In 2013, I shared this with my cousin, who's 1 month younger than me. And he said, hey, I want to do that too. And so that day, in September in 2013, we decided that we would walk the Camino in 2016. And after negotiating with him, we decided that we would plan it so that we arrived in Santiago on my 50th birthday. And so then for those 3 years, I was planning significantly and really what I was going to walk. And originally Paul and I were only going to walk from Leon, but I kept meeting people who'd walked the whole Camino. So I started in August 2016 and walked from Saint Jean to Leon. And then I had to leave the Camino for a couple of months before I came back and restarted that journey with my cousin. And so on my 50th birthday in 2016, we entered Santiago de Compostela, and it was the most amazing birthday I've ever had. And just, you know, yourself, that beautiful feeling when you get into the plaza in front of the cathedral, and there's an energy there that's different to other places.
I really, really agree with that. I don't know. I don't know. For example, I'm like a person, and I'm just scratching everything. I'm moving around. I can't stop like not 1 minute, but like 1 hour in the same place. You know, I need just to do this. I need to be busy. I need to do some things.
Yep.
I can't be stopped in a place without doing nothing. You know, and in that place, I can spend hours, just looking into the cathedral.
Wow.
And that place gives me like this peace of mind, like an inner peace. I don't know. I can't describe it. It's just like um, I feel like I am home.
Uh-huh.
I I I don't get this feeling anywhere else. Just that,
Yeah.
you know.
What makes it so special?
I really don't know. I just, of course, this has to be kind of about my journey of the Camino. My first Camino was like really, really awkward or different. Let's put it like that. Because it was my first Camino was by bike. It was 7 days by bike, going to Santiago and then coming back my home.
Uh-huh.
And in that Camino, there were some moments that I feel like a real pilgrim. That I felt that although I'm not walking, I felt that that I was walking. I
Yep.
felt that I was I was the same. So one of that moments was in Pontevedra on the Portuguese Camino. It's like 65 kilometers from Santiago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on the way back, I stopped in the municipal alberg. There were like several pilgrims there, and one of them, a German guy, I I have his phone number, but I lost it a few months ago. It calls Erm, because and Erm had, I don't know how, but he has like these vouchers for meals at the restaurant, and he was inviting pilgrims. So I have these vouchers. Come in. This is for pilgrims. They have special prices, and four of us we accepted. And then we have like in the restaurant there were four people: a Portuguese guy, me, a German guy, old German guy, her. There was a girl from Venezuela, really, really beautiful girl. Uh, I kept in touch for a few years, but I lost her contact. And then there was, I couldn't remember their names now. There was another guy from Italy. So I don't know that there is a lot of places where you can have a Portuguese guy, a German guy, an Italian guy, and a Venezuelan girl all having dinner together. So that was kind of a special moment for me where
Mm-hmm.
I understood that the Camino had something. And that Camino, although it was awkward, several points, but the first and the most important to me, it was that I did not get into the cathedral when I arrived in Santiago. You
Uh-huh.
know, that is awkward, I know. But there were several things that made me not to go into the cathedral, and the two most important ones was my backpack and my bicycle. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't because I didn't know anything about Santiago, and I didn't know where to left safe this
Yep.
thing. So mainly because of that, um, I guess that was the main reason. It was a stupid reason. Now I know when I could have done it, but it was my first Camino. You know, no, nothing almost. So, uh, but that Camino, although it was by bicycle, and this little guy called Saint James, they changed my life. So I kind of reborn after that Camino. It took a while. It wasn't that first month after Camino. It wasn't there wasn't easier on me. But like 4 or 5 months later, Saint James kind of put a like this Camino angel in my life. And that moment changed everything. That I have like this sense of I owe something to Santiago because it changed my life. So I see the Camino as part of my life. And I cannot see me, I cannot see me without the Camino also. So because of that important thing, because I was a person before the Camino, I'm a completely different person, a new person after the Camino. And for me, it was really, really good. I'm not saying that I was not a good person. I was, but helped me with to grow up as a person, to get more self-estimated, to get to be able to grow. I guess that was the most important feeling, and to accept our flaws, to accept that we can fight. We need to fight for our dreams, and it also gave me like this sense of peace because I still am a part of it, but I'm growing as the matter of time passes down. I'm becoming much more calmer than I was 5 or 6 years ago. You know, so that's why I cannot see my life without it. Mark, I can't hear you. I
Sorry,
lost. Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, 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 no.
Sorry about that. That's a beautiful thing to hear about the way that it's changed your life. And that it took a little bit of time for that to happen. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
reflecting this morning. I walked part of the Camino Portuguese in December 2019, January 2020, before all of this COVID thing happened. And I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity. And as I was reading through my diary this morning, I was still learning things today that about how that changed me, because that was a really lonely Camino. I met one pilgrim only, and he was a Portuguese guy who was walking to Fatima. So we crossed paths one morning, going in opposite directions. But
About
you're right. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry. Let me just tell you a story that, like I said, you enter the where today when we had booked the time, you entered the conversation, but I was driving. I was not home because I was getting back home from the Albergue where I restarted again as an hospitalier today. Um, and I don't know if you know this, but the last time that we talked, it was on the 16th of May, my time, 17 for you, but 16 for me.
Uh-huh.
And I also in that day, we had booked it at an hour, but I was late because I was arriving from Alberg, where I went to a birthday party of one friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
And today I was also getting late because I was getting back from the Alberg. That is, I don't know. So, Mark, that's just interesting for me. Uh, when you started that first Camino in San Jan, did you remember what what was your first impression on it? What did you see? What did you sense? What did you feel? I don't know.
Yeah. Um, I remember arriving by train about 1 hour before a communal meal at the albergue I was staying at, Bel Esprit de Camino, the spirit of the Camino. And the first thing that struck me was I arrived, I put my bag down, my backpack, and then we had this beautiful meal with, like you said, like your experience in on the Camino there, with people from countries all around the world who'd come together to walk this Camino. And I thought, wow, this is amazing, you know. And I'd meet some of those people along the way. And then a couple of them I met the very last day of my Camino, having not seen them for like 20 something days. And then the next morning when I got up and I looked at where I was going to walk, and I looked at the map that was going up and up and up and up before it went down again, I thought, how on earth am I going to do this? I had no idea that I could walk, 25 kilometers a day, day after day after day. And I only walked 3 weeks in that first Camino because I stopped at Leon. And I honestly, at the beginning, I was thinking, well, if I get close to Leon, that'll be good enough. And then maybe I can make up those days another time. But I think the thing that really struck me was I didn't believe that I could do it. It was beyond my imagination. And I think the only way you can really understand the Camino is to walk the Camino. You watch the way and,
definitely, yeah.
it looks easy. But the reality is it's hard work.
Yeah, but we are trying to pass that feeling to the other pilgrims, but you really won't understand what is the Camino if you are not there. You have, you have there's like this big sense associated with the Camino, and it's kind of like a cliche, but actually, this is true. Is that you can't explain the Camino. You have to feel it. And even if we try harder to pass that emotion, it won't be the same. You have to be there. So let me tell you a story about my last Camino. I finished my last Camino 1 month ago, and it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Two, because it was 2 Caminos, but okay, yeah, let's put it like one. And there was like this moment. I don't know what it happened exactly. It put me in that place at the time, at that hour. So I walked to San Salvador and then the Primitivo. On the first day of the Primitivo, because of the virus, there were several issues, because there were several places that you are on the guides. They put it that you have a bar here, you have a bar here, you have a bar. But we and some more pilgrims that was walking nearby me, we couldn't get a place to drink a bottle of water, to eat something, like on the first 17 kilometers of that stage. And after 17, there was like a deviation, and 300 meters there was a bar. We went there, we stopped at the bar. And then you don't need to go back to the place where you get the deviation. There's a pathway that drove you back to the Camino. So this pathway that should drive you back to the Camino, to like this big, big, big road downwards, just you and nothing more ahead. It was just all straight ahead, and there was fields this side, fields that side. It was, I don't know. And in that moment, there were some pilgrims. They stayed there. I wanted to continue a bit more, and so I started alone. They stayed behind. So there was like this moment. There was myself on this role. And I don't know, but I I had the feeling that the wind was blowing into my directions, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, and then like open a path for me to pass. It's like to drive
Okay.
around the. And in that moment, I felt that God was there beside of me. Um, I don't know why I cannot describe if it's true or not, but in my feelings, yeah, it was true. And that moment was really touchy for me because that Camino, I did not walk it as per se for me. It was really good for me, but I walk it in the name of another person, a really, really good friend of mine, a Spanish
Uh-huh.
friend that is 65 years old and he has cancer. And I was with him 4 months ago,
Yeah.
and then when he told me that he had cancer, and in that moment I realized um, that I needed to do this Camino for this person. So
Yeah.
after that moment on the wind, with the wind, I just felt, okay, this is my path. This is what I need to do. So that was like the moment of confirmation. And then when I arrived in Santiago, he was there waiting for me without knowing that I have walked the Camino in his name and that I dedicate my Compostela to him.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and it was such a beautiful arrival. But I, I, I could really stick out to that moment because it was the moment where I know, okay, this is true. This is what I need to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know, it was really, really special for me. Um, can you please, Mark, tell us some stories about your Camino, please? Funny stories or, I don't know, special moments for you, please. Come on.
Yeah. I was just thinking, probably one of the funniest stories is the story of my very last day of my Camino Frances. And it kind of began a couple of days before. We were working with a group of us from Canada, from Germany, and from Australia. And the two German girls, Anna and Jana, asked me what my favorite fruit was. And I thought about it and I had to say the banana is my favorite fruit because, on the Camino, a banana is really handy. You can put it in your backpack. It's got a cover on it. You don't have to cut it up, all of that. Anyway, it was the morning of my birthday and I was having a coffee, waiting for my cousin to come before we started to walk for that last day. And Anna and Jana walked into the cafe with a paper bag and they said, "Happy birthday." And I opened up the paper bag, and inside the paper bag were 3 bananas. And on those bananas, though, this is the best bit, they had drawn pictures that
Oh,
told the story of our Camino. So everyone had a picture on the banana. There was some of the meals that we'd had, the walking and all of those sorts of things. And it was just such a beautiful way to start the day. And then that last day was, we all wanted to get to Santiago, but we didn't want to get there too quickly. So we were walking and we were stopping here, we were stopping there, a coffee, a beer, a coffee, a beer, and then a beer. And then at one point we decided we would eat the bananas. So we had this beautiful meal, eating the bananas. And the funny thing was, I hadn't realized it, but I think it was Anna had taken my phone and she was filming us as we were having this conversation. And I only found this later. this video of us telling these stories, and I've got this picture of me answering the telephone on my banana, and I guess it was just one of those beautiful days on the Camino where you never want it to end, because it's just such this amazing feeling of companionship with people I'd only met. I mean, I know my cousin for 50 years, but these other people I'd only met a week before, but it was as if I'd known them for years. It's that beautiful thing on the Camino, isn't it? Where a day is like a month. You can say so much to a person in one day on the Camino that you might not say to another person, in weeks or months or years, because you're together, you're side by side, you're walking, you're having that conversation. I think for me, that's just one of the most beautiful memories of my Camino. Another one was when we walked part of the Camino Portuguese in 2018. I walked with a friend, John, and Catherine, who is an Anglican priest, and her husband, and we decided we would have Mass along the way, and we couldn't find a place to have the Mass, and we ended up on a park bench outside of a skate park. I think I can't even remember which town we were in. It was somewhere after Tui. And I remember thinking at the same time, someone's going to come and arrest us, because here we are celebrating the Eucharist on a park bench. But it was just a beautiful experience. And then when we arrived in Santiago, a friend of mine, Marianne, who'd been walking the Frances, met us. And we went to the apartment that we were all staying in, and we sat down around the table and we had the Eucharist again. And for some of us, it was the end of that part of our journey. John and I would walk to Finisterre the next day, and Marianne would go back to Australia. But it was just a beautiful coming together around bread and wine and story and being together. And I think my greatest memories of the Caminos are about those times with people. Yeah.
Definitely. The people of the Camino, the pilgrims that we met, the hospitaliers, the one thing that I like really, really, you get to know the locals and talking with them. It's just so special. And the people made the Camino also. It's like a big important part of the Camino, if not the most important. And also they can become our Camino angels. Did you agree with that? Did you commit that the Camino provides you a Camino angel sometimes?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the word angel from the Bible means messenger, and they were the messengers of God. And I think, I got a lot of messages through people. Like I was telling you, my last Camino, when I only met one other pilgrim, the thing that opened up for me was that my time with hospitaleros, with the owners of the places that I stayed, with people in cafes, locals, I was more open to those experiences. And just those beautiful experiences of hospitality. That the one place I ended up, Quinta da Church in Anciao, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
It was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Day. And so when I arrived, there was a special glass of port wine and some cookies. Just those little beautiful touches. And then the next morning, as part of breakfast, they'd also packed a roll for me and some more cookies to take for my lunch. Just those beautiful moments of hospitality, making sure that you're cared for as a pilgrim. I think that really stands out for me. And it stood out for me so much more when I was the only pilgrim on that path at that time. And I met no one else. I could see there were, on Facebook, I could see there were people like 6 or 7 days ahead of me, but there was just no one in my vicinity. So yeah, I think there are definitely angels who have that message that you're cared for and you're important, and you know, we want to show hospitality to you.
I don't know, but sorry, I'm emotional. But I just keep running into them. So today, my first day back on being an hospitalero. Um, I have we can go at this moment because of the COVID measures. We just can have like 17, 18 pilgrims at the most on Alberg in a place that
Uh-huh.
has 42 beds, you know?
Yep.
So today was the first day that Alberg that we opened 2 weeks ago. The first day that it was full. I had 18 pilgrims today in Alberg. And
Mm.
10 of them, they were they have a reservation. But the other eight they don't. And in that other eight, there were six Spanish people, and they were a group from the south of Spain, and we really connect in the middle, but nothing too much at all. But like in middle afternoon, after all the way of work that I need to do, I take like half an hour to rest and to relax a bit. Uh,
Mm.
and I went to a bar, to the restaurant that is outside of the Alberg, just to drink a beer. And I was drinking a beer. They invited me to have a drink with them. And I don't know, we just connected. And we are talking about food, about Camino. And when we were talking about food, I was just telling about food from Spain and I like it. And they told me food from Portugal that they like it. And for me in Spain, there's like a plate that for them is the most natural thing that they can they can eat. That is the tortilla. But for me, it's one of my desired dishes. I just want it all the time. I really, really love tortilla. I don't know, this is awkward, but I can eat tortilla all the time.
So can
And
I.
it's I don't know, it's I don't know. And then I went to the Alberg for 20 minutes, just meeting the pilgrims and see if everything was good. And then they called me. They invited me to another more beer, and they were asking to the people to the restaurant because they were like 7 in the evening. They were asking to offer them some potatoes and some onions to make a tortilla just for me.
Oh wow.
They invited me. We had dinner together. That's why I get a bit late because they invited me to dinner. We all tasted tortilla. We all ate. I made them like some pasta and I don't
Uh-huh.
know. My favorite dish ever on the Camino, almost kind of yeah.
Yeah.
And they made me
Uh,
on purpose.
uh-huh.
They also eat it, of course, but it was
Yeah.
really really a nice gesture from the part, and I don't know. It was so special. Um,
Beautiful.
Mark, did you already think if you could imagine you to dream to live on a place of the Camino, which place you like to live in?
Oh, I don't know if you have it, but a lot of us people who come from outside of Spain and Portugal, when we walk the Camino and we see a place that's for sale, the first thing that goes through my head is like, maybe I could, buy that place and set up somewhere and, do something. And I'm not really sure where I'd like to do that, but there's a part of me, I'm training to be a spiritual director. And part of the job of a spiritual director is to listen to someone and to help them talk about God in their life and what that means for what they do. And so there's a part of me that would love to, at some point in my life, be somewhere along the Camino where I could help people by listening to them. So maybe that would be in Santiago, where I could help them to process their journey or process the way forward or finish there. Maybe it would be somewhere along the way where a lot of people stop or start, like Porto or Leon or Tui or even Sarria. But I get nervous about that Sarria. That last 100 kilometers really doesn't speak to me anymore. But I think somewhere where I could accompany people along the way and provide an opportunity to listen to them and help them to understand the work of the Camino and the work of God in their lives. And I'm not sure where that would be, but I think at some stage in my life, I would love to do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know, kind of a friend of ours in Cameroon. She will be arriving in Santiago, in Madrid, in 6 or 7 days.
Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's arriving the 25. She'll be spending.
Oh, wonderful.
She'll be spending like 6 or 7 days in Santiago before she will be waiting on Father Stephen Wendell that will arrive from their Camino on the 30th of July, 30th of September, and she will be expecting him on that day. And Lee is one of that cases.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really happy for her. So we're talking about places. For me to answer the question before, I don't know, but I really connected. I don't know because I like the remote places. Don't know why, but I like the remote places. So I find on the Camino San Salvador, I found the place, this like little pueblo where the second stage finish it is called Poladura de la Tercia. It was I was enchanted by that place. I started to think, could I live here? Could I live here? Yes, I could. Yes, I could. I was just like thinking of the pros and cons. Cons, but I don't know. And people will say, no, you will get buried. And I don't know. It's just so beautiful around there. And even you have pilgrims, you can have like a special place for pilgrims. I don't know. I really connect that place. Or there's also a place already in Galicia on the Primitivo called Ferreira. And between Ferreira and Villar de Cas, another pueblo, somewhere around, I really love to live around there. I don't know. And it's not like the most beautiful stage. It's not like the most big place. But then they catch my attention, and I was thinking of that. But thinking of places and talking about places. So what was the special places that stick out to you in your Camino? Which Camino you want to talk about it?
I think there are a few. Like I think of my very first Camino, and I think of the days between maybe Roncesvalles and Logroño. Just these beautiful days early on. You have Pamplona, but then you have all of these beautiful small villages as well. And that was something really special for me. In Puente la Reina, the main street that the pilgrimage goes through, sitting there and having a beer, watching people go past, having a conversation with other pilgrims. On the Camino Portuguese, that first day out of Tui is a beautiful day. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, naturally, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and just the part this morning that I was looking through on the Portuguese down south through Alviazere.
Alvayase, yes. Yeah.
And that area, there's 3 or 4 days there between, I guess, Tomar and Coimbra that are just beautiful. You've got Roman ruins, you've got streams, you've got old bridges, lovely villages. I think that really stands out for me as something, a place that I really, really enjoyed. And then there's Galicia. Galicia, I'd love to get back there. Every time I see something about Galicia, it just, I feel it inside.
I'll be there in 1 week, just meeting some friends that are walking. I know, I'm just so excited for next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I know. Because next week I'll be driving around Galicia with some friends. I'll be walking like the last 2 stages before reaching Santiago. I will walk them. There were more friends coming to see us, and it will be so a nice meeting. And the week after, I'll be again. And I'll be again on Telberg, but this day on a Saturday. And there's a friend of mine coming into the Alberg that day, but he didn't know that I will be the Hospitalero. And I want to see his face, even with the mask, when he realized that I am the Hospitalero. I know. I'm just so excited.
I love it that it's for me today, like seeing posts from people who are on the Camino at the moment that I met through Facebook groups and some of them I've had conversations with. It's so important for me because I can't go more than 10 kilometers from my house at the moment. So the idea of going overseas and walking a Camino, I can't see that happening for 12 months. And I really want to get back. So watching your Caminos that you walked recently on Facebook and I'm so looking forward to Lee going back over there and Efrain Gonzalez, who's some of his work, and Ron and Anne in Astorga, and it's just beautiful to see. It keeps the Camino alive for me in a very special way. So I look forward to watching what happens.
Yeah, there was, I don't know, so beautiful, the Camino, so beautiful. So, Mark, we're almost finishing here.
Yep.
But before, at this moment, in these really harsh times that we are living for, what the Camino is to you?
The Camino is 2 things to me at this moment. One is something that I long to do, and it's in Portugal and Spain and France. And, there are so many walks that I would love to do. I'd love to do San Salvador and the Primitivo and other walks and finish my Camino Portuguese. So in one sense, the Camino is something over there that I really long to do very deeply. But in another sense, the Camino is inside me. And it's what I've learned from the Camino about slowing down, about reflecting on things, about trying to live more simply, and to get that spirit that you get, when everything you need is in one backpack and there's nothing more. And to carry that through. I guess for me, I realize now that, it has made a big difference to me. I mean, I'm just looking something I wrote after the last Camino that I did. I can't even find it now. What do I take from the Camino? A chance to let go of things, just to leave things for a while and let them be and focus on being present with what I'm doing. An opportunity to slow down. It's so much easier to slow down on the Camino when you take away so many distractions. The gift of connecting with other people and with the environment, walking through forests, walking through fields, all of those things. The luxury of traveling lightly, of not having to worry about, do I include this? Do I include that? What if I need this? What if I need that? And then just the time to think and to be present to what's happening around me. I think that's what the Camino means to me now. And that's the part that it doesn't matter if I'm here on the country of the Wurundjeri people in the western suburbs of Melbourne, near the Maribyrnong River and the Yarra River, a place where, Aboriginal people came together. Across, I'm looking out the window now, 1.8 kilometers that way is where I was born. My parents lived less than a kilometer that way. And I often walk past the house that they were in. I've got these little mini pilgrimages within this area that's so significant to me. And my football team is playing in the grand final next week, and their home is just across the road from me. And their colours are all over the place, and there are murals on people's walls and all of that. So yesterday I went on a little Camino around the suburb that I live in, finding those pictures and sharing them with my family who can't come to this part of Melbourne because it's more than 10 kilometres from where they live, where we're really stuck, and we're stuck here for a couple more months.
That's really interesting.
That's the Camino.
I just thought of this right now because of what you are telling me. If you could relive a Camino memory, which memory you choose right now?
I think two that I spoke about earlier, that last day going into Santiago for the first time. And then that second time I was in Santiago, where we gathered together to celebrate the Eucharist around a kitchen table. I think they're two of the memories that if I could live those again and again and again, I would definitely do that.
Mark, now we are already also almost finishing here, but before I have a question and then a little request. If your Camino would have an expression, which expression you choose? What is the expression of your Camino?
Go.
Mine is fraternity. No,
Fraternity.
Fraternity, yeah.
Yeah.
That is mine. I don't know. And the sentence is quite long. I will tell you later. Now the request. So I'm just finishing this in a different way right now. There are some bad things that came to do better things. I don't know. For you, just to say goodbye to the people that will watch this video and listen to this video, please leave a message for the pilgrims. Leave a message for the Camino, to the Camino, and from the Camino to the Camino. Whatever you want to say.
First, thank you so much. I feel disappointed that you lost all of those videos, but I'm really glad that we got to speak again and to share where you are on your journey after your last two Caminos and that special, beautiful story that you shared about today. To all of those people that I've had an opportunity to walk with the Camino with, thank you so much. Your companionship, your community really, really means a lot to me. To people like Lee and Efren and Annie, people I've never met in person, but have become part of my Camino journey. Thank you so much for everything that you've given me. To all of you who are thinking of walking the Camino, go, do it. Do it for your own good. Do it for the gifts that it will give you and the lasting impact that it will have upon your life. And to the Camino, thank you.
Mark, that was beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for one more time for the individually. Today is really, really special day, and this came to upon more on this talk that we had here. Really, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I really, really expect you that
You.
really, really soon you could be on the Camino. That is my wish for you right now, for that you to be on the Camino anytime soon.
Thank you so much. I really, really, really look forward to meeting you in person. We said that last time, but
Yeah,
one day we will have a beer somewhere on the Camino.
Mark, thank you so much. Have a really nice day, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bless